Hi, Dr. Preeti. I am so happy to have you here again. And I want to talk to you about love and relationships because Valentine's Day is coming.
Hi Divya, happy to be here again. And yes, let's go.
So I need your expertise on a lot of questions that I have researched on that, couples and single people and even relationships in general, there are so many questions, there are so many things that need to be addressed and we'll need your expertise to sort these questions.
I'll try my best.
Sure. So my first question is, people are often looking for the happily ever after and think marriage is a solution, courtesy Bollywood or rom-coms in general. But the triggers begin once they are living together or once they are married or once they are, girlfriend, boyfriend. And suddenly they start, once the honeymoon phase is over, they start having arguments, they start having disagreements, etc. What I want to ask is, how can one choose like the correct partner? Is there a way to know if you're choosing the right partner, or if someone's triggering you, how can you deal with them?
Great question, Divya. Firstly, let me acknowledge that it's not only Bollywood, right? Before that, our fairy tales also do that, right? Where the frog is there, you touch the frog, and suddenly it becomes the Prince Charming, and then life is different. So that is needed. It's a very child's way of thinking that somebody is going to change my life. One day I meet the right person. So when you ask me, how do you know the right person? So there is no right person. It's the child's way of thinking that one day I meet the right person and then my life will be different. Happily ever after. That Bollywood has given us, right? Now that does not happen. I can share with you in my case where we did inner child healing after about 10 years of marriage. And I think life after that has been different. And since that time, we really feel that every person must do inner child healing before you actually get into a marriage, get into a relationship. Because really, otherwise, we are entering relationships like a beggar. Okay, this Prince Charming is going to fulfill my needs, my emotional needs, physical needs. This other person is going to fill me up, my empty cup. And obviously, the disagreements, the fights happen because two beggars are standing in front of each other and then feeling that my cup is not being filled, right? I'm empty. And then what happens? Probably even extramarital affairs. You look outside, somebody else now probably should fill my cup. But that really doesn't happen. So it's important that we actually take responsibility. What our ancestors would say, that whatever path that you're taking, it's a path. It's a journey of knowing yourself. So the relationship is also going to reflect back to you what are your unmet needs. They're going to trigger your own wounds as well, right? So I think commitment is so important that we stay in it and we are ready to say, we don't expect that the other is going to make me happy, that this is a path. We are choosing the path of being with somebody.
Well,
Thank you, Dev.
thank you for saying that actually, because my next question is kind of related to this. What apart from love is most important in relationships? Because when we enter into a relationship, or you think of love, which is where the rom-com factor or the fairy tale factor comes into play. So what apart from love is really important in relationships today?
Right. So one important thing is that you feel safe with the person, that you can trust the person, because initially there is attraction. It is just lust initially, probably, before it becomes love. For love to blossom, love is going to blossom. Love is not there initially. But for it to blossom, one has to feel safe. One should be able to trust the other person. And the other thing which is so important is commitment. Because the relationship blossom and you blossom with the relationship, it's like a tree. When it's going to be in one place, the roots will go deeper and deeper. The relationship actually helps you grow. You discover deeper aspects of yourself, unseen aspects of yourself. And the same happens with your partner. I mean, it's such a beautiful journey that we can do that.
Thank you. In fact, when you say this, I also think of the fact that when people say, people get bored after a few months or years as well, because then they are only looking at the initial high, which is like, attraction, which people confuse as love. So, how do
Right.
you think people could, maybe deal with the boredom that sets in maybe in relationships or marriages?
Yeah, yeah. So I think some of the proverbs are so beautiful and they really speak about the human mind. You know, when you say grass is greener on the other side, right? So somewhere just knowing, just examining your mind, somewhere something that's not available, something that is right now not on your side, starts looking a little more attractive, right? The other thing is, I think, being aware that your relationship is going to change. The initial phase, the lust, is not what is going to last through the relationship. So when you say, when you start craving, right, it's the addiction. Our brain is such that it starts craving for the pleasure. So when you recognize that there is a journey, it's we started from somewhere. Of course the physical intimacy is going to be there, but there's much more to explore. And when you prepare yourself, when you tell yourself, I want to explore much more, I want to experience higher highs, right, with this person, that's when giving that intention is really going to help you be with this one person. And of course, like I said, commitment, recognizing that I'm going to value this. I value the intimacy and the sacredness of this relationship. That's what is going to help.
That's really beautiful because you mentioned very nicely that, we should accept that things are going to change. And people want, whatever happens in the beginning, the rush or the high remains throughout the relationship. Hence, when it doesn't happen that way, there's boredom. So, if, like you very correctly said, if people focus on the journey and how people
Yes.
probably grew and evolved together and understand each other better, that would make a difference in probably the boredom not setting in. And even if it does, you deal with it.
Yes. Yes.
So my next question is, since Valentine's Day is coming, a lot of single people can feel low if they, do not have someone or if they've recently broken up or something. And sometimes just the pressure of, even though it's just a day, and people say every day is like a day for love, but then that one day, there's so much pressure on single people that they can also feel a little inadequate, that no one's choosing them perhaps. So how do you think, what advice would you like to give to single people?
I think it's a wonderful question because as teenagers, Divya, we are actually we feel okay about ourselves once the opposite gender approves of us, or whatever gender that we are feeling attracted to. When we feel that yes, my love is being reciprocated back, that's when I'm good enough. So for the teenager, it's a need. So when you're rejected by your first love, by your second love, right? So many times you've seen that people carry that rejection mood, right? Now, as an adult, we have to really become also emotionally adult, right? We have to heal this wound. We have to somewhere recognize that our completeness, our adequacy is not dependent on the other person. So many times we actually feel that the relationship is going to complete me, that the other will complete me. So we are not incomplete, we are complete in ourselves. If we can actually go to this fact, if we can actually connect with our inner child, if heal those wounds, as I said, and recognize that wherever you are, this is where you are meant to be right now, right? And at this time, on this day, maybe you can enjoy the relationships that you have, your parents, your friendships. So, so many times when people are married, they're craving for time alone. They don't get time alone. So maybe make the best of where you are right now.
I hope a lot of people, including myself, will follow that. So I just feel like because you mentioned inner child, and the importance of it here, I feel because of a lot of wounding and traumas, people tend to make choices that don't align with their authenticity, and which is why we are like, why do people ignore red flags? What are these? How can one identify red flags? And if we can, change the narrative by, saying ki, why just look at red flags? How about I look at green flags? What are like the green flags of a relationship? So in two parts, if you could, just help give clarity
Firstly,
for.
I'm just going to share about this song. Okay. This song was once playing. तेरे लिए ही तो सिग्नल तोड़ ताड़ के आया दिल्ली वाली गर्लफ्रेंड छोड़ छाड़ के. So, we were traveling, me and my husband, in a car, and this song was playing, and suddenly I said, oh my God, what a red flag. Imagine this man who's saying that I broke the signal, I left another girlfriend. Tomorrow he's going to leave you also. So what I'm saying is that if somebody can do this to another person, right, he's going to do it to you as well. So take this as a red flag. It's not, so many times we fall for the wrong people because we feel, oh, he's treating me so well. Maybe he likes me, right? We start feeling validated from there and we ignore so many things. Now, if this person doesn't want commitment, somewhere, so many times I've seen girls falling for a person feeling that no, his heart is going to change for me. Maybe I will finally do it. I will change it for him. Maybe I'll trigger something. That's what he wants to be. Don't expect that you will really achieve in changing somebody else. So those are things. I think what you can see is that how do they treat other people? How do they treat other girls? How do they treat people who are lower than them, where they don't have to be good and polite, but how is it that they are? So I would, for me personally, that's what I would see. The green flags, when you asked, I would say honesty. Does he really say what he means? Does he really do what he says? That is a big thing. Commitment, which can be seen in other areas. When you say, I'm going to be giving my work at this time, do you actually deliver it? Right? So the commitment, whatever you do in one area of your life, how you do anything is how you do everything. So you can also kind of just observe whatever is happening in other areas, right? So these could be important green flags for me.
Wow, this will really help a lot of people. Thank you for that. One question that comes to my mind is the fact that it's so common for any two individuals, not just, partners, any two individuals to have disagreements, and this is more so people take it a lot personally when it's between two partners. So, and disagreements are normal. They are bound to happen. No one can escape them ever. Someday it's going to happen. So, can you throw light on maybe how can one deal with this, address disagreements in a better way instead of being, disrespectful of a person?
Okay. So firstly, good that you yourself said that we know it's going to happen. So breaking that fairy tale that I'm going to be happy ever after. Right? So just as when we are in our parents' house, when we are with any other friends, there are two different people, they will have different opinions. So the same way when it's a couple, right? Also, there are going to be different points of view, right? So somewhere we developing a good module, paying attention to how can we actually communicate it in a nice way. Now, when we say communication, a lot of the times people feel I should be able to say it, right? Of course, yes, don't expect the other to understand you, right? That, okay, why should I speak what I'm feeling? Why don't they understand? Let yourself express. But the other important thing is also here, really be with them, really pay attention, be present to them. In a relationship, both really party, what they're craving for is the presence of the other person. And so many times when you say disagreements, right? I already have a point of view. Now, when you're saying I'm almost closed, if I'm just thinking how to answer you back, how to prove to you that my point is right, then that's not really communication. right? I would highly recommend, if somebody has not read the nonviolent communication, to really read that, to understand that. And that is something that really helps to make the relationship actually better, because each misunderstanding, each disagreement actually can be a step to go higher, because we are really actually talking about something, we understand each other better. And when we can respect the other in that, respect their point of view even in that, even if it's different from me, that is what really respect is.
Yeah. In fact, I suddenly thought of something that you had shared earlier in another conversation where you spoke about the difference between reacting and responding. So if one person can not react but take a pause, think,
Exactly.
and then respond to the person, I definitely think it will be an easier way to, deal with fights or
Exactly.
disagreements.
It's beautiful, if we can actually catch ourselves, if we can become aware of what's happening in me, because usually we are actually waiting to, speak whatever that I want to speak. We're not even listening. So practicing that pause that you just reminded me about is actually so important.
Thank you. And in fact, I feel like, at the end of the day, people just want to be loved.
Absolutely.
In whatever way possible. They're just probably not being able to communicate that properly. So, which is why I also think of the 5 love languages that, are probably important for people to, discover about themselves and thereby communicate it also to their partner. Would you like to say something about the 5 love
So
languages?
I'm not going to go into clarifying the love languages, but
Hmm.
I think, just an example that, so, there was a woman who kind of, after so many years of marriage, wanted to divorce because she said, my husband doesn't love me. And he was shocked that, I've been trying to do so much. And what makes her feel that I don't love her? And she said that because he never says, I love you, right? So her love language is she wants to hear the words. He may be doing all the actions, which is his way of expressing love, which is his love language. But her love language is she's craving to hear that. So, in this kind of a scenario, when we actually recognize this is my love language, now if the other person is not understanding, maybe we can actually express that. It really helps if you can say it also once in a while. I recognize that you are doing all the actions, right, which are for me. So, thank you so much for all that. But if you can also say, so we can also express this, and if we also recognize the other's love language, right? That is something that helps to really build the relationship.
Yeah. So, ma'am, I also wanted to, ask you about something which is really prevalent in modern day dating, which is the hookup culture. By that, I mean people having casual relationships and not committing easily, maybe having multiple partners for whatever reason. And the reason I ask you about, your take on the hookup culture is because I would like to understand, as would a lot of people, about how can it affect mental health. Do you think it can adversely affect, or is it, people who do it, they are very casual and they seem very happy about it, but do you think there could be like another layer to it?
Definitely the anxiety, depression in these cases is rising. So the impact may not be seen initially, but we have seen that definitely the youngsters, the kind of mental health issues they're facing right now is really a lot. Now, the important thing here to understand is that there is a myth that the body and the emotions can be separated. Okay, when we say hookup culture, what is it that they are doing? I'm getting involved physically. Mentally, no strings attached. Emotionally, I'm not attached to you. Now, where is really this divide? Who said that there is a divide? The last century has been where actually the scientists have, in their experiments, come to understand that even when the doctors believe that, okay, the matter is separate, energy is separate, they've come to see that it's not separate. Candice Pert, I would recommend this book, Molecules of Emotion. where she saw that when you're feeling an emotion, there is chemical being secreted. It's going into your body, it's affecting the body. So the body and the mind is actually one unit, it's not separate. So this is a myth. They believe that I'm going to get involved only in this way. Mentally, no. Now, because they believe that, when they feel something, right? Now, if I have believed it's not going to affect me, if I'm feeling something, I put it in the subconscious, I put it under the carpet. And that is how suddenly things are coming up in different ways. It is definitely affecting them, hormonal issues, mental disorders, all of these things are happening. Somewhere we need to wake up. We need to actually see, is it really true? Is it really that it's not affecting me? I've seen so many times, and obviously girls get more affected, right? Their biology is such, their body is such, you can actually go and research on it. Dr. Christian Northrup, who's a gynecologist, who's talking about this. The biology is such that the heart is connected. So once you are getting involved physically, you're going to get automatically involved also emotionally. And we are actually energy beings, right? So we are, when we are coming close together in that way, it definitely leaves a deep impact on you. Okay, so it's a myth. It's important that we actually recognize, okay, question, be intelligent, question your belief. Is it really true? Is it really not affecting me? I've seen girls who say, I'm in a casual relationship. So, and when they are actually saying, when the boy is with me, I don't know if he's messaging other girls also. The way they say it, I can sense they would like it that he's not, right? But because they've decided, no, no, casual hookup, they actually refuse to even acknowledge that this is what I'm feeling. When we speak about health of emotions, we say we got to see what we are feeling, we got to validate it, right? And if possible, also allow the expression. But here in these relationships, no expression, no casual, we decided, no strings attached. So definitely it is leading to a lot of issues that we notice. I would highly recommend anybody who's into this, just become aware, question it. Is it really true? Am I not getting affected? If I am, acknowledge it. You don't have to go by that myth, by that belief. Belief is not the truth.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. In fact, I'd probably like to, end by saying I just got reminded of a quote that Jay Shetty had said. And he mentioned once about relationships that, partners often forget that it's not me versus you, it's us versus a problem. So if you can
Wow.
keep that in mind, it can just sort so
Absolutely.
many things. It can lead to a lot of love and respect between two people, because the problem is not like I'm trying to prove something to you. It's literally
Absolutely.
us together against a problem which we can sort together. What would you like to say
Absolutely.
about that?
I think that's beautiful. And like I said, that in the listening, see, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we say disagreement, right? I am not actually listening. When you already have a point of view, when the other is saying something, it's like you versus me, because my view is different. So if we can just learn to drop our view at that point in time, just the intention should be, I want to understand you,
Hmm.
right? If that is something that we can do at that time, that will actually help. Because sometimes, yes, the problem is outside, but sometimes I feel, no, the problem is this person because he's not understanding me.
Yeah, like you said, I want to understand you. People are usually like, but you're not understanding me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So if we
Wow.
can turn that around, if we can actually become emperors, full, not come like beggars, you're not understanding me.
Wow. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation, and to many more on different topics. But love and relationships are such a, integral part of every single person. No one is devoid of it. No one can escape it, even if they want to. So I'm sure this conversation will help a lot of people. And thank you so much.
Thank you.